प्रियरम्मा कृतार्थ होइला पदलभिय ब्रह्मा द्विपद नारद मुनि हृदय धरिता द्विपद नारद मुनि हृदय धरि श्री से अभय पदा श्री ते धोरिया परमानंद नाथी पद गुण गाया संसार विपद होते अवश्य बुद्धारा भक्ति विनोदा पद करिबे तोमा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा नील माधव राधा नील माधव श्री राधे Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Shri Shri Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य वैराग्य मूर्ति श्रील गौर किशोर दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा को। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we will chant Pranam mantra for Bhaktivinod Thakur. So you all can repeat after me. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate. The meaning of this Pranam mantra is I offer my obeisances to Bhaktivinod Thakur, who is also who is being named as Satchidananda Bhaktivinod Thakur, and he has the transcendental energy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is a strict follower of Rupa Goswami. So that is the meaning of this entire pranam mantra. I would like to seek the blessings of their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Panchatattva Nasimadev, and all the Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and senior devotees present here, and also all the Vaishnavas. I was thinking I'll speak in English. That is okay. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು? Huh? Uh-huh. Okay. Because I got little, I think I didn't give myself fully for expression, but I just read some portions of that seventh Goswami book, which I felt I will share few things that I have read. And also Prabhupada's one lecture transcription I just went through. So whatever I have assimilated, that I will try to share. And especially when it comes to when we want to speak about acharyas, it is uh, no joke, because their transcendental qualities and their transcendental achievements, we will not be able to figure out with and their, especially their personality and their swarupa, everything is inconceivable to conditioned mind, and conditioned our senses also we cannot perceive. So whatever we are able to describe is within our own limitation, limited consciousness. So that's why what best we can do is, if we can share whatever other acharyas or their very intimate associates, whatever they have described, if at all, if I can share it with utmost transparency, so so that their glories are not diminished. So I think in Bhagavatam, one place, there were great brahmanas. They were actually doing puja. At that time, Lord suddenly appears. This was, I think, in the sacrificial arena of King Nabhi. There in that place, those brahmanas, they glorify the Supreme Lord, saying that actually whatever we are glorifying, sometimes it may be, uh, though we are thinking that we are glorifying you, but actually we might be minimizing your greatness and qualities. Because see, whatever we are able to understand, let's say we may say that sun is emitting so much light that the brightness is equivalent to some measured candle power, we may say. But actually the greatness may be much more, because as if have we been able to calculate exact to the proper precise degree. So we are not able to do it. So similarly, Lord's qualities, we may not be able to fully estimate. And it is also true for great devotees. So in that same way, that whatever we have been able to do is whatever glorification that I'm able to do is whatever I have read. That much I will try to share. And during um, during those times, there was uh, during Bhaktivinod Thakur's time. This was the 18th century. And in that time, there was one newspaper. It was called as Amar, Amrit Bazar Patrika. So this was the person who was actually editor of this Amrit Bazar Patrika was Shishir Kumar Ghosh. So he tells about Bhaktivinod Thakur. He says, I have not, with my own eyes, have not been able to. Jai Shri Radha Neela Madhav Bhagwan ki Shri Gaur Nitai ki Srila. I have not been able to see 6 Goswamis, but I am able to see this Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And the 6 Goswamis, whatever they did in the forest, this Bhaktivinoda Thakur is doing in the city. See, doing in the forest, reducing one's sleep, reducing one's eating, and doing so much, completely absorbed in bhajan, and doing welfare activities of preaching for the mass. So that all people like Goswamis in the forest of Vrindavan, they are able to do. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says he is no less. He is actually Goswami, though inside Calcutta. He is actually having so many worldly responsibilities, but at the same time, he is actually as good as Goswami, is what he says. So he says that he is a seventh Goswami, like that. So I will just try to share what during that time, how was the situation of entire India was. And that is the time of actually British. Mughals had already, they had already invaded and they were already suppressed because of the British invasion. And during that time, the Western establishment was just happening. And to the extent where Thomas Macaulay had already declared that we will be able to conquer this India only if we can establish our English education system in India. And to do that, he had already started bringing out the propaganda saying that all these Vedic literatures are all useless. And our European Greek literatures, they are much more superior. And Sanskrit language is also very low level language. So this is what he was actually propagating. And many of the Indians had started accepting. And so that's how. Uh, so though, and he was giving some very vague idea about all these literatures. But there were very few English professors and English people who would actually confront this Thomas Macaulay. Even them, very few, exceptionally 2-3 people were there who were able to appreciate what Bhaktivinod Thakur was saying. But most of the people were opposing whatever even Bhaktivinod Thakur was trying to say. And the kind of things those English people would say, that they would term the deities like they are grossest images of sensual pleasures. That means they would say that, especially if you see even sometimes Indian architecture, there are some dancers, so many things with nude bodies. So like that, he would they would give very obscene kind of comments about Indian literatures and also about Indian deities. So like that, so they were trying to minimize in spiritual Indian heritage like that. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was trying to give very, uh, first of all, in the beginning, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, though in his childhood, he had got some impressions of Hindu culture, but he was more like, he was he was like empiricist. Empiricist means he was trying to understand spirituality through his own path. So, and in the beginning, he was actually taking up to also Christianity, and actually he was exploring God consciousness is in his own life. So when we see that if Acharya, how he cannot know God, like we see in the case of Prabhupada, when he was a small boy, even that time he had attraction to Radha Govinda deities, and he would do Rath Yatra, all that we hear. But in the case of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we hear that though he had knowledge of Ramayana and Mahabharata and all when he was a small boy, but still he had not, he accepted them only theoretically. He had not been able to show that much of devotion. And he was trying to explore what is God consciousness. So when we say, we may see in the life of a pure devotee also, though they may be actually acharyas, they are actually evolving in this particular one lifetime. They may show evolution of coming from a non-devotional mindset to a completely highest spiritual mindset, devotional mindset. So that evolution we may be able to see in the life of pure devotee and acharyas. So there, he mentions that how a devotee, great devotee, cannot have such immediate from birth only. Why he cannot have any devotional sentiments, things like that? People may question. So, Lord Krishna has his own plan. How he wants to, how he wants to bring out that Krishna consciousness in the life of a pure devotee, because everything is dependent on time, place, and circumstance. And at the same time, Lord has his plan of how he wants to use that devotee to in his service and in his mission. So in the life of Bhaktivinod Thakur, we see that Lord had his mission of giving great transcendental literature to the world from the viewpoint of which modern intellectuals could understand. So that's why he went through a journey himself, and then he could explain to modern intellectuals through in their own language. So the kind of appreciation that he received, especially in academic world, is laudable, because most of the time, most of the people in his own times, they could appreciate Bhaktivinoda Thakur's literature and writings. And I'll just explain what was his family lineage and things like that. Actually, he took birth on September 2nd in 1838 on Sunday. This was in the ancient village of Bir Nagar, and also it is called as Ulagram or Ula. So this was in Nadia in West Bengal, and he was his father's name was Ananda Chandra Datta and Jagat Mohini Devi. So and actually he was not like a person who was he was born in a very rich family, very wealthy family. So it is said that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe. So that means a pure devotee, it is not that like the case of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it is not that he was a yoga bhrashta. Yoga bhrashtas are those who had not completed their spiritual journey in the past life. But the case of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was very, it is said, he was one of the manjaris in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. Now, who are manjaris? We may know Radha Krishna are the divine couple who are engaged in divine leelas in the spiritual world. And Radharani has many Sakhis who are assisting in the pastimes. Now, these Sakhis have little more assistants. They are called as Manjaris. They're small girls who are assisting in Radha Krishna's pastimes. So, all the acharyas in Gaudiya Parampara, most of the acharyas are actually Manjaris in the spiritual world. So, it is mentioned that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to material world, and he wanted to actually take the living entities and give them the bhava of Manjaris. That's why he brought the foremost of Manjaris, Rupa Goswami. And then through them, they wrote so many literatures and which is imbued with the mood of Manjaris. That's why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also, towards the end of his lifetime, he was actually always meditating on the song Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. Huh? Yeah, Jari Jana Sampada. That means he was actually meditating on Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. That means they are our entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. They're actually meditating how they can attain the lotus feet of Ruma Manjari and many other Manjaris. And all the Acharyas in the Parampara, they're all various Manjaris. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was also one of the Manjari. His name was Kamala Manjari. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually has descended just to execute some mission. So what is that mission? We will try to little by little we'll see. But only thing is he was born in a very wealthy family, and at the same time he underwent very great struggles in his life also during his youth. And he was named as Kedarnath Datta. Kedarnath is the name of Lord Shiva. So this is the name which he was given. And I will just share a few points from. And actually also when he was a small boy, he was also being married. And usually during those times, childhood marriages was done very People when they're small boys, that time only they would get them married. So especially the reason behind it is the small girls usually as soon as they come to puberty, they start looking for some partners. So when they're small in childhood, if they are being married, they know that this is the person I'm married to, and so like that, they were actually being married when they were small child, and especially his literatures. I will just try to share what all literature that actually he wrote. Uh, Even when he was a small boy, he had such a great, he was very intellectual. So he would write many literature, especially on Alexander. On Alexander only, he wrote almost 30 volumes of books. And even the Western people, they were actually very much amazed how he had such great literary abilities. And not only that, he also wrote a book on Vikram Betal. Like this, before coming to Krishna consciousness, before meeting devotees, he went through a great journey of in academic field. So that as soon as he came to Krishna consciousness, or as soon as he got in touch with devotees, then he utilized all his literary abilities in writing transcendental literature in Krishna consciousness. It is said he almost wrote roughly 100 books during his entire lifetime. 100 books he wrote just during his time of uh, by the end of 18 some of the books which he wrote are even before coming to Krishna consciousness, he wrote many books on Gautama, on Sannyasi, Vijayanagram. Like this, many books he wrote, and even English literatures also which he wrote. It is said one book which he wrote, um, he was actually trying to get one copy of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which he was not getting. For 8 years, he was just searching, where will I get the copy of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? So he was searching, searching, searching. But finally, he received that one copy of book. And as soon as he read that one copy, he was actually feeling very divine emotions. So he was feeling great ecstasy in the heart, and all ecstatic emotions were actually visible in his own heart, and his heart was becoming very much pulled towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we may observe that if Bhaktivinod Thakur had not been a great associate of Lord, he would not have been able to experience such divine emotions. So, if a person was just a sadhaka bhakta, for him, his taste actually gets awakened very gradually. And once anarthas are all removed, that time the taste gets awakened. But for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the emotions were such, they were almost like sporadic. There was a surge of great transcendental emotions which were actually being infused in his personality. And he was actually feeling divine connection with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one question he could not get understanding about. He was thinking, why this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is worshipping Krishna? But Krishna's character is very ambiguous, and his moral were also of double standards. He was not able to understand that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is worshipping Krishna. So, but one thing is he had already developed great attraction for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for in glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wrote one poem. It in Bengali. It was called as Sachidananda Premalankara. So he wrote it on glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After he wrote that poem, many of the Vaishnavas, they liked it so much. Then they gave the name of Sachidananda to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he had written Sachidananda Premalankara. So they gave that Sachidananda name to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like that. And also he spoke about the Bhagavat, its philosophy, its ethics, and its theology. Especially, he wanted to prove how Bhagavatam is the highest literature also. And he also wanted to give the understanding about absolute truth. And also he wanted to give the cultivation of bhakti. All these aspects he was trying to prove. Like this, he wrote many, many books about Jagannath Puri, about, and eventually towards the end, he wrote Sri Krishna Samhita. And Sri Krishna Samhita is the book where about Sri Krishna and his tattva, and also the demons which he has killed. So many like this he wrote, and also Kalyana Kalpataru. Sajjana Toshani is the one journalist magazine which he wrote during. He would regularly write and publish, and like this. And also he wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, then Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, and Sanmodana Bhashyam. He wrote it on Sri Shikshashtakam, and then also he wrote Bhajana Darpana Rahasya, especially on Manashiksha. Like this, many books which he wrote, which are all which our devotees actually write it, which our devotees read and they relish, and many deeper concepts of like in Jaiva Dharma is the book which has been written. It is like a conversation. There are many characters which who come in that play, and they converse, and that's how he gives the entire philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So like this, many books he has which he has written. And how many of you want to know about this daily schedule of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Actually, it is very inspiring for all of us. And Lalit Prasad Thakur, he was the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has written in his diary what is the schedule that Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually would follow. So he writes, while he was there in Jagannath Puri, what is the schedule that he would follow? One thing he says, he would never see Bhaktivinoda Thakur being idle. That means people start sometimes thinking, now what should I do? Now I have so much time. And at that time, if nothing is there, people may just sleep off. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said he never found him idle. That means he was always very much time conscious. It is said he would always have one pocket watch, and which he would always see, and he would always follow that time. So that's how he would make himself very much busy, and at the same time he was fully engaged in Lord's service. So many times devotees say that only sannyasis can preach, or only sannyasis have so much of time, they're busy, and grahasthas need not do any preaching. They have to just take care of their family, and they can do at most their own devotional service. But actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually exemplified through his own example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, Kiba Vipra Kibanyasi Shudra Kenenai. Jai Krishna Tattvaveta Sei Guru Hoi. Many times people may think Guru means he is only sannyasi. But actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is proving that anybody can be Guru. Jai Krishna Tattvaveta Sei Guru Hoi. Anybody who can actually knows Krishna Tattva, he is actually Guru. So it doesn't mean he needs to be Vipra, he needs to be sannyasi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying he can be even Shudra. But only thing is he must know Krishna Tattva. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is actually mentioning how he was a magistrate. Magistrate means he was actually working under British. So though he was working under British, he had a very tight schedule, but still he managed his life in such a way that he was able to do his own bhajan, and at the same time he was able to write literature for benefiting the whole society. So it is said between 7:30 to 8 p.m. he would go to bed. He would go to bed by 8 p.m. and then he would just rise before 10 p.m. That means 8 to 10 o'clock he would sleep for 2 hours only. Sometimes our devotees day rest only happens 2 hours and along with night rest. But his whole rest was only 2 hours at night. And then he would light his oil lamp And he would write books till 4 a.m. in the morning. That means from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, almost 6 hours he would write. Yeah. So during that time, he would get complete um, no, undisturbed time for his literature work. So actually, many times devotees also say that, especially in Vrindavan, they do their bhajan at night. They think that this is the most undisturbed time, and that means they don't sleep. And sometime they catch up their sleep sometime in the evening and sometime in the day. Like that, they catch up, and they would do undisturbed bhajan in there. Yeah. But at the same time, they are awake in the morning also. So many times devotees or some people may do night out and whole morning they sleep. But here it is said, see, he would wake up, he would write till 4 o'clock, then and he would take rest for half an hour after that. 4 to 4:30 again he would take rest. And 4:30 he would start his japa. He would chant till 7:30 in the morning. I mean, almost 3 hours he would chant. So how many exact rounds, that is not mentioned, but surely at least he would give 3 hours. And especially those devotees who chant very fast. Especially we hear those who in Vrindavan and all, they chant almost every round in 5 to 6 minutes. They complete. That means every 1 hour they can almost chant uh, 10 rounds, 10 to 12 rounds probably. So that means in 3 hours, I think he would be able to chant more than 30 to 35 rounds probably. I'm just guessing, but at least this is what according to the schedule. And then 7 to 7. And another thing it is said, he had one room, just a small room where only one person can sit. And he would go and he would lock the door. And also he would cover his face and he would chant. And so that eyes will not open and eyes will not get distracted. So, but this is not which is expected for all of us. If at all we go locked up in a room, we will only wake up after 3 hours. So we will get night 6 hours plus another 3 hours of sleep. We catch up. And so he was so much absorbed. Any activity he would do with so much focus. So, and after that, he would write letters, correspondence for half an hour. And then, and also various philosophical works. Sometimes, if there are letters, if there are questions, then he would write. Otherwise, he would write some other literature again during that time. And if not, he had some visitors whom he would meet for half an hour. Otherwise, he will continue reading till 9:30. This would be his schedule. And then he would back and forth. During that time, he would actually walk to and fro, and he would do he would ask questions and then he would answer himself. So sometimes Prabhupada also would do this, especially while he wanted to defeat these scientists, Mayavadis and all. Prabhupada, when he was going in morning walk, they would ask questions and Prabhupada would defeat them. Sometimes Prabhupada would take the role of, he would switch the role. He would ask his devotees, his disciples to become devotees, and he would take the role of atheist. And he would question, and they were supposed to answer. And finally, if they are not able to answer, Prabhupada himself would give arguments. Like that, but Bhaktivinod Thakur would do alone. He would do back and forth. And he would give answers in his mind. So, and then again, he would take 15 minutes nap. See, 2 hours plus half an hour plus 15 minutes. Total 2 hours, 45 minutes. Or most 3 hours. He would take rest. And then he would take bath, and then he would take half glass of milk, 2 chapatis and little fruit. This would be his breakfast. And 9:55, he would wear his uniform to the court and leave. And He would also wear coat, pants, and everything. He would exactly look like a British man in external dress. And also he had 6 Kantimala strands, they said. Uh, that means it was very thick Kantimala. That means many times we may think I'm devotee, I should not show that my devotional dress. So people may want to hide their Kantimala. But he was also displaying his devotional, uh, his uniform, everything, even outside. And also he would he was so focused that he was able to any court case that would come, he was supposed to give judgment. Whatever would take 30 minutes for any person, no normal judge, he was able to finish it in just 5 minutes. That was the level of his because especially when a devotee is so much focused in Krishna consciousness, even materially also, that those person actually become very focused and purposeful. And so like that he would do. And he would shave his head monthly. And like that. And at 10 o'clock court would begin. And he would almost hear 30 to 50 cases per day. That means those many cases that he would give declaration and judgment. And and then 1 o'clock he came back to home. And again went back 2 o'clock. And 2 to 5 again was working. So 10 to 1 and 2 to 5. That means almost 6 hours. Almost 6 hours he worked. And almost 6 hours he wrote literatures. And 3 hours he slept. And maybe 45 minutes to 1 hour he would utilize taking food and doing his daily duties. And so much time he just spent in Krishna consciousness. And so he had one pocket watch which he would keep seeing. And it is mentioned, this is the every moment he was always thinking how I can utilize in Krishna's service. So that was his intense desire to serve, because of which his entire schedule was like this. So that means even we may not be able to do this much, but at least we can take inspiration. At least we can do one fraction of 1/4 whatever he's doing. 1/4 means how much? He is writing literature for 1.5, at least 6 hours. At 1/4 means how much? 1.5 hours. At least we should read whatever the literatures great acharyas have written. At least we can read them. And at least we can try to minimize our sleep. We can try to minimize our daily quota sleep, so that we will be able to do our Krishna consciousness properly. So this is how he actually spent so much of his time. So one last thing I will tell, and I will end. So Bhaktivinod Thakur, how he found his main contribution is the discovery of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. So he was actually thinking, I will go to Vrindavan. He was thinking, I'll go to Vrindavan. One day, Bhaktivinod Thakur got a dream saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in his dream and he said, you are not finished service yet, so how can you go to Vrindavan? And then he was saying that you have to discover birthplace. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was thinking, actually he was working not in Navadvip. So he was asking, so give me, he was asking, he was putting a petition to British saying that, can you give me a transfer of magistrate service in a city which is very close to Nadia? And they were not ready. He was putting so many times petition, and but still they were not ready to agree. And and his health was also getting spoiled in that in Navadvip Mayapur area. When he was going, his health also was getting spoiled, but still he was saying, no, I'm ready to go. Even if I die, no issue, but I must go. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, I must serve. So he was wanting to go there and do that service. So but somehow that British officer who was not giving the transfer, he was out of station for few days, and in his place someone else came. and he gave green signal for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to get it transferred. And he was very happy and he moved to that place. And after moving, every weekend, Saturday, Sundays, he would go to the place of Nadia, Navadvip, and he would stay in Dharmashala. And he would go with his son. So when he was going with his son, he would go with his third son to that place. And one day he was just sitting on the terrace of the Dharmashala. And opposite to that, on the eastern bank of Ganga, he was able to see great light. This was at night, 10 o'clock. And he was not able to figure out what is that light which is coming there. And then next day, he asked all the local people, what is that area and where is that light coming from? And they found out there in olden times, it is that area is called as Ballal Dighi. And earlier, Ballal Sen was actually ruling that entire part, eastern. And the entire civilization was there on the eastern part. And due to later point of time, actually most of the people actually shifted from eastern to western ghat of Ganga. And then he went and asked, he was asking actually local people, where is the actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace? And so many people were actually not able to say. And they told that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace is actually gone because Ganga has actually shifted that course. And earlier, now it has actually got submerged. Many of the people were saying like this. So nobody were, and many people were not even interested to find out. Many of the local people. So it was a great difficulty for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to find out with the place. And then finally, he went to that place and he started doing many investigation through various literatures. And one literature by, I think, Bhakti Ratnakara. This is actually written by, I think, Narahari Sarkar. And in that literature, he mentions that now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace is in Mayapura and it is in the eastern side of Ganga. And Mayapura was the place which was called on the eastern side. So, yeah, that was called actually on the eastern side of bank Ganga was actually called as Mayapur. And in that place is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. So this one confirmation he got from the literature. And many of the local people also were saying, this is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And but still, he wanted much higher proofs. So then he went to Jagannath Das Babaji. During that time, Jagannath Das Babaji was like Vaishnava Sarvabhauma. So he was the spiritual, he was considered to be the most foremost of the Vaishnavas in Vaishnava society. But he was so old, he was almost 120 years old. And his eyes would always be closed. But he would do constant bhajan. He would close his eyes, but he would be always immersed in bhajan. If at all he want to see somebody, he had to lift his eyelids, and then he would be able to see. That was the age of Jagannath Das Babaji. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked Jagannath Das Babaji to come to this place to confirm the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Bihari Lal brought Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj in basket, and he, as soon as he brought him to that place, actually there was a mound, and in that there were a lot of tulsi that had grown in that place. And as soon as Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was brought, immediately he started shouting, Yeito Nimayra Janmasthan. Yeito Nimayra Janmasthan. He started shouting and he started jumping in air. That person who was not able to lift his hands, not able to lift his even eyelids, that person was actually jumping in air as soon as he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. So that means immediately Bhaktivinoda Thakur got confirmation that this is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 6 Goswamis actually found out various Leela Sthalis in Vrindavan. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually found out many Leela Sthalis of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Dham. So he also did actually the work which Goswamis did. Goswamis wrote literature. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote literature. They excavated holy places. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also excavated holy places. And not only that, he also preached. He opened so many Namahattas all over the world. So like this, he did a very extensive work in preaching. He also did extensive work in literary field. He also did extensive work in excavating holy places like this. So he has been a role model for all Vaishnavas. So that's why he's one of the foremost acharyas in our line. And on this day, actually, we are supposed to offer our glorification to Bhaktivinoda Thakur for all the wonderful work that he has done, and also for all the selfless sacrifice which he has done, because of which, if at all we are able to practice Krishna consciousness today, so we must be able to pray our gratitude to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And also we should be able, see, he actually removed many apasampradayas. So because of which we are able to practice Krishna consciousness with so much of dignity. So we pray and offer our humble obeisances at the feet of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also seek blessings and empowerment, so that we do our own Nama Bhajan very absorbed way, without any motivations. And we pray and beg so that our material desires in our heart are removed, and also we become instruments, humble instruments in the hands of Guru and Krishna, so that we will be able to render some service. We may not be able to do the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur has done, but because they are all Nitya Parshadas of Supreme Lord, but we can at least render some service that they have desired. They were desiring that let this Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement be spread all over the world. So Prabhupada actually already accomplished it, but they have left a little work for us to do. They have already done a major chunk of work. They already completed. So, but we are supposed to at least continue what they have done, and so that we will be able to purify our own lives. So, thank you all very much for this. For me, that I had the opportunity to immerse my consciousness in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life, and of course, I have not been able to do justice. So thank you all very much for this opportunity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.